At the company party, with music thumping around us and my arm around my cheating wife, something suddenly clicked, and not in a good way. There was this strange, nagging feeling that something wasn't right. Then it hit me like a slow-motion gut punch. Paige wasn't wearing any underwear. That red silk dress she had on clung to her body like it had been painted on, and the way she kept sliding her hips against mine felt way too choreographed. I let my hands wander down her back, lower and lower, and what I felt, or didn't feel, confirmed it. Just bare skin. Smug, bold, shameless. I leaned in close and asked her, my voice colder than a January wind, "Where are your panties, Paige?" She froze mid-sway, her eyes flashing with panic, sharp and bright like shattered glass. Her lips parted, painted and trembling, but nothing came out. Her eyes darted across the room like she was a trapped animal hunting for a way out. Then I noticed it, her gaze locked onto someone. A guy in a sharp navy suit, neatly trimmed beard, and the kind of smirk that only survives because no one's wiped it off his face yet. He was spinning something lacy around his finger like a prize. Red, delicate, unmistakable, her underwear. Then the bastard looked me straight in the eye and gave me a wink. Right then, something inside me gave out. It didn't explode, it just snapped, like a steel cable under too much pressure. I walked straight across the floor, steady as the center of a storm, and stood right in front of him. Without saying a word, I grabbed the panties out of his hand, balled them up, and jammed them into his mouth. "Chew on that," I whispered, just loud enough for him to hear, but it was like the whole room caught fire. He gagged. Paige screamed. And the music kept going like we were just part of the entertainment. I didn't stick around to see the aftermath. I walked through the stunned crowd, right past Paige, her mouth open. No tears yet, just that blank face she made when she got caught. Straight to the bar I went, grabbed the bottle of bourbon like it was forged just for this moment. And that was just the opening move. While she came stumbling after me, heels snapping on the floor like gunshots, I was already pulling out my phone. Logged into our shared accounts in seconds. A few quick taps, click, click, done, and our entire savings were gone. Her rainy day fund? Dried up. The spa money she hid from me? Emptied. That secret PayPal tied to her little side hustle? Swept clean. She shrieked my name from the upstairs balcony, voice cracking, "Miles. Miles, stop. Please." I didn't even bother to look back. I left that party without a word. No one came after me. Not one soul had the guts. I got into my truck, hit the road, and kept driving until a brand new skyline filled the windshield. By the time I finally checked my phone the next morning, I had 45 missed calls. 45 desperate little pings from the same woman who, just hours earlier, let some other guy twirl her damn underwear like a trophy in front of me. And the strangest part? I felt nothing. Not anger. Not relief. Just a heavy, echoing silence where love used to live. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. You're probably wondering how we ended up here. So let me rewind the tape. Let me walk you through how Paige, the woman I once believed was my forever, slowly turned into a viper coiled around my throat. Let me show you how I ignored the signs, swallowed her lies, kissed her every morning, never knowing someone else had already tasted her the night before. And most importantly, let me tell you what I did about it, because this isn't some sad love story. This is about payback. And they weren't lying when they said hindsight's 20/20. Looking back now, every red flag was flapping in my face, practically on fire. But I didn't want to see it. At first, it was small stuff. Paige got flashier. Her hair was always styled, even for a quick grocery run. Her phone, which used to be left lying around without a second thought, now never left her hand. She started locking it, saying I needed to respect her space. Told me I was too nosy. The gym became her new obsession. That wouldn't have been a problem if she hadn't started showing up in outfits that looked more suited for a photo shoot than a workout. I cracked a joke about it once. She just laughed and said, "You don't seem to mind when you get the perks later." But there were no perks. Not anymore. Suddenly, she was always tired, or it was that time of the month, or she just wasn't in the mood. Every single time. And like a fool, I bought it. Then came the late nights, client meetings, brunch with the girls. I knew Paige's friends, and let me tell you, none of them were the brunch on a patio types. They were more the wine on the couch, gossip until midnight crowd. Still, I didn't push back. I let it go. But the moment everything cracked, that landed on a random Tuesday night. She came strolling in late, 10:47 p.m., to be exact. I remember the time because I was halfway through a Lakers game, and her heels on the tile floor sounded like a damn metronome counting out her lies. She smelled like cinnamon and something else, regret. That wasn't her perfume. That was someone else's cologne. I got up, reached for her wrist, and looked her straight in the eyes. You weren't with Kelly tonight, were you? She blinked too fast, pulled her hand back like I burned her. Jesus, Miles. What's next? Are you planting a GPS in my bra now? She flipped the blame on me so smoothly, it almost made me doubt myself. That alone should have been the moment I woke up. But real proof doesn't knock politely. It kicks the damn door down. 3 days later, I was doing something I actually liked, cleaning up the house. Yeah, believe it or not, I like order. I take pride in keeping things tidy. While vacuuming under the couch cushions, I found something I wasn't supposed to. A small hotel keycard. No branding. Just a room number, 305. She'd never mentioned a hotel stay. Ever. I slipped it into my pocket and didn't say a thing. Later that night, while she was in the shower, I picked up her phone. Used her fingerprint while she was distracted by the hot water and steam. Her gallery? Too perfect. Nothing there. No selfies. No dumb memes she used to send me. So I checked the hidden album. Boom, there it was. Blurry shots, but sharp enough to gut me clean. Her. Wearing red lingerie I'd never seen before. Her. Standing in front of a mirror, someone else's arm around her waist. Not my arm. Her. Lying across a hotel bed that sure as hell wasn't ours. I just sat there, staring at the screen while the sound of the shower faded into the background. My hands were shaking, but my heart? It didn't break. It got carved apart, slow, like someone scratching initials into a tree, bleeding sap with every stroke. I placed the phone right back where I found it. Didn't say a word. Not a sigh. Not a question. That night, I stared at the ceiling while she curled up next to me, breathing easy, like she hadn't just put a knife in my back. And here's the messed up part. I still loved her. A piece of me wanted to believe it was all a mistake. That I'd misunderstood something. That maybe, just maybe, I was wrong. But I wasn't. And when I saw that smug piece of trash at the company party, spinning her panties like a prize he'd won in a carnival game, everything came together like a final puzzle piece clicking into place. So I started planning. I waited. I watched. Because if she thought she could lie to my face and keep playing happy wife like nothing ever happened, she had another thing coming. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't slam into you all at once. It slides in quiet, like a cold knife between your ribs. And once it's deep enough, once it starts to twist, there's no patching you up. After the hotel key, after those photos, after the party humiliation, I wasn't wounded anymore. I was sharp, methodical. I gave it 2 days. 2 full days of pretending everything was normal. I kissed her good morning, made her eggs the way she liked them. She giggled about how sore her legs were from Pilates, and I smiled like I didn't know they'd been wrapped around another man. I made a dinner reservation for Friday, her favorite sushi joint, the one she always bragged about. Miles really knows how to treat a woman. Yeah, I treated her all right. She got all dressed up, tight black dress, high heels, lipstick way too bold to be innocent. She looked like a dream, but all I could see was a lie with a good makeup job. We chatted over drinks and appetizers, like nothing was wrong. She laughed, touched my arm, batted her lashes like she hadn't just ripped me apart the week before. I studied her the way you study a stranger. Her nervous tics, the way she tapped her fingers, how she avoided eye contact just a little too long. Then, right as the entrees hit the table, I leaned in close and asked, "How's room 305? Her fork froze midair. She blinked, tilted her head like a confused puppy. What? Room 305. At the Lafayette Hotel. You know, the one with the mirror on the ceiling. I watched the color drain out of her face like someone pulled the plug. Her mouth opened, then shut, then opened again, like a fish flopping on dry land. I don't. What are you even talking about? Cut the crap, Paige. I found the key card. I saw the photos. That red lingerie? Nice touch. Did you pay for it with the spa money I gave you? And just like that, silence. Just the quiet clatter of dishes and some distant jazz tune playing overhead. She didn't say a word. Not for 15 seconds straight. Then, finally, she snapped. So what, Miles? You're spying on me now? Loud. Too loud. People at other tables started turning their heads. I leaned back in my seat, slow and steady, like a man who already knew the war was over and done. No, Paige, I said calmly. You left the trail. I just followed it. That's when she snapped. You were never there for me, Miles. Always working, always tired, always somewhere else. Her voice cracked like she was the one who'd been wronged. I needed attention. I needed to feel something. To feel alive. I almost laughed right then and there. Oh, so climbing into someone else's lap is how people feel alive now? I asked, deadpan. Her eyes lit up with anger. At least he listened to me. You haven't even touched me in months. You think I didn't want to? You think I didn't try? I shot back. You were the one who pulled away, Paige. You shut me out. You locked the door, and by the time I knocked, you were already in bed with someone else. She snatched up her purse and stood, full of fire. This is pathetic. You're just bitter and insecure. I stood up too, kept my voice low and calm. No, Paige. I'm just done being a fool. Then I handed her the envelope. Inside? Everything. Printed copies of the photos. Bank statements showing our emptied accounts. A letter from my divorce attorney. It's over, I said. I've already moved out. Changed the locks. All that's left is your signature. She looked down at the papers like I just handed her a live grenade. Her lips trembled, but I didn't wait around for her to find the words. I tossed some cash on the table, gave the waiter a nod, and walked out into the night. What I felt wasn't triumph. It was quiet. The kind of silence that settles after the storm's gone, when the destruction's already done and you're just standing there, wondering whether to rebuild or leave it all behind. I wish I could tell you I walked out of that restaurant like some Hollywood tough guy, shoulders squared, head held high. But I didn't. I got in my truck and drove for hours. No radio. No map. No real plan. Just the sound of my breath and the tires hissing across wet roads. And her voice, her damn voice echoed in my head. At least he listened to me. It rang out in my skull like a shotgun blast inside a cave. She was always good at flipping the script, twisting the blade and making you believe you handed it to her. I used to admire how sharp she was. Now I saw it for what it really was, a weapon she'd been using against me for years. Eventually, I ended up at the lake. The one we used to visit back in the early days, when everything still felt real. I parked by that old wooden pier, rain tapping out a soft rhythm on the windshield. It was well past midnight. The world felt like it had hit pause, just me, the dark, and the weight in my chest. That's when it finally sank in. Not the anger. That came later. Not even the betrayal. That had been rotting inside me for days already. No, what hit me was grief. Grief for the man I used to be. The guy who believed in Paige. The guy who thought he was building something real, when all he was doing was stacking lies like bricks, thinking it was a home, not a tomb. I climbed out of the truck and walked to the edge of the pier. Let the cold rain soak through everything: clothes, skin, soul. I don't know how long I stood there. Could have been minutes. Could have been hours. And somewhere in that stillness, the tears came. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet. Hot tears that rolled down my face like they were embarrassed to show up. You never think it'll happen to you. You see it in other people's lives. You give advice. Not along. But nothing preps you for the moment you realize the person you loved most didn't just betray you. They didn't even hesitate. She didn't stumble into it. She dove in, smiling. And the worst part? If I hadn't caught her, she would have kept right on going. That truth, that knife, cut deeper than anything else. When the chill finally started to bite through my clothes, I headed back to the truck. Checked my phone. 2 messages from her. Miles, can we talk? I didn't mean for it to get this far. Please don't shut me out. You know I'm not the villain here. I stared at that screen for a long time. My thumb hovered over the reply button. Not the villain? She looked me in the eye and lied for months. Let me kiss her, hold her, trust her, while she gave herself to someone else behind my back. And now she wanted me to believe this wasn't what she intended? No. I deleted the messages. Blocked her number. Shut the phone off completely. That night, curled up in the back seat of my truck, wrapped in an old blanket with the windows fogging up and my life shattered into pieces, I finally accepted it. The woman I married didn't exist anymore. Maybe the truth was, she never really existed, not the way I believed she did. And the man I used to be? He died the moment she looked me dead in the eyes and lied like it meant nothing. I didn't go back to the house for 4 days. Not that it felt like home anymore. That place, our so-called home, was just a stage now. A backdrop propped up by memories I couldn't trust anymore. Every room, every photo, every damn coffee mug in the cabinet still had her fingerprints on it. I couldn't look at it. Couldn't breathe in that space knowing where she'd been, what she'd done. So instead, I bounced between motels. Slept under musty blankets. Ate microwave dinners. Stared at ceilings that didn't whisper her name. And I thought, not just about her, but about myself. What kind of man had I become? Yeah, I was a provider. No doubt. Loyal? Absolutely. But maybe too trusting. Too naive. Too blind. I'd always believed that real love meant giving. Sacrifice. Compromise. That when things got tough, you didn't run. You held on. You fought. And I thought that's what Paige and I were doing. Turns out I was the one digging deeper, while she was halfway out the damn window. I didn't want revenge. What I wanted was freedom. Not to scream or smash things. I wanted clarity. So on the 5th day, I walked into my lawyer's office, dropped a folder on his desk, and looked him straight in the eye. He raised an eyebrow. You ready, Miles? I nodded once. I'm done. Let's burn it all to the ground. We filed the divorce papers. Cited infidelity. Attached evidence. I didn't ask for alimony. Didn't fight over the house or the cars. I just wanted one thing out. Out of the marriage. Out of the lies. Out of the trap she'd built around me. That evening, I went back to the house. She wasn't there, probably off with him, wherever guys like that spend their nights. As soon as I stepped inside, that vanilla candle smell hit me. Sweet. Familiar. Fake. Just like her. I walked through the kitchen, passed by the fridge where the old photos were stuck with magnets. Hawaii, her graduation, my 30th. I started pulling them down one by one. Frame by frame. Smile by lie. I didn't yell. Didn't break anything. I just packed. Clothes. Important documents. My dad's old watch. The pocket knife my brother gave me. Everything else could stay and rot. Then I sat down at the kitchen table and wrote her a note. Paige, I hope he was worth it. I hope the thrill you got from lying, sneaking around, and turning our marriage into your little game was worth losing someone who would have done anything for you. No tears. No begging. Just the truth. It's over. The papers are signed. The accounts are emptied. The locks are changed. I don't hate you. I don't love you either. I just don't feel anything anymore. And that's the scariest part. Enjoy your freedom. You're not my responsibility anymore. Miles. I left the letter right there on the bed, next to that silk robe she used to wear when she wanted something. It still smelled like her favorite perfume, and a whole lot of lies. On my way out, I passed the hallway mirror, and I barely recognized the guy staring back at me. His eyes were sharper, his shoulders tighter, and his chest? It held a kind of weightless pain, the kind you feel when you finally let go of something toxic. I didn't slam the door. I closed it gently, like shutting a book I should have stopped reading years ago. A week passed, then another, and I didn't hear a word from Paige. No guilt-ridden texts. No voicemail switching between victim and villain. Just silence. At first, it felt weird, like something was missing. But sometimes, emptiness is the best kind of gift. Without her chaos filling up the space, something else showed up. Clarity. I moved into a small apartment on the edge of town. Nothing special, but it was mine. No ghosts in the closets. No lipstick on wine glasses. No lingerie shoved under couch cushions. Just 4 honest walls and the sound of my own breathing. The first few nights were rough. I kept reaching for her in bed, muscle memory, I guess. My body thought she was still there, even if my heart knew better. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to silence, the kind that settles deep. Just the fridge humming in the background. And this dull ache in my chest that didn't have a name. That's the thing about grief. It doesn't slam into you all at once. It shows up in the little moments. That empty chair across the table. The stillness when you walk through the front door. The shampoo bottle that hasn't moved an inch because you're the only one using it now. But you learn. You adjust. You survive. I started hitting the gym again. Not to prove a point, not to chase some comeback. Just to feel alive again. I reached out to old friends too. Some were surprised I'd gone off the grid. Others weren't shocked at all. Turns out, a few of them had seen through Paige long before I did. They just didn't say anything. Wasn't my place, my buddy John said one night over a couple of beers. She always seemed slippery. Yeah, that word nailed it. Slippery was Paige in a nutshell. Always slipping between half-truths, between men, between versions of herself that fit whatever moment she was in. She could cry on command and smile while twisting the knife deeper. But you know what? I don't regret marrying her. Sounds crazy, right? After everything, the lies, the betrayal, I still wouldn't undo it. Not because she earned my love, but because I needed to learn. Sometimes, you have to burn to rise. I learned that love without respect is just a countdown to collapse. I learned that loyalty means nothing when it's only flowing one way. And most of all, I learned never to ignore the signs. That gut feeling, that quiet nudge in your chest telling you something's off? Listen to it. That's not paranoia It's survival. Now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see some broken shell of a man. I see a survivor. Someone who took the hit, stood back up, and walked away from poison with clear eyes. Will I ever love again? Maybe. But next time, I'll love with more caution, more wisdom. I won't fall for pretty lies wearing red lipstick. And if you're hearing this, if you just found that hotel key, or read that suspicious text, or looked at your wife a little too long and realized her eyes don't light up for you anymore, hear me. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not wrong for walking away. Sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is leave. Not to get even, not out of hate, but to finally find peace. Because peace? That's the real win. It was late on a Thursday when I heard the knock. 3 soft taps, like someone testing to see if the door would hold. For a moment, I didn't move. Stood there, hand on the knob, staring through the peephole at a ghost. Paige. She was standing there in jeans and a hoodie. No makeup. Hair pulled back. She looked like a woman who'd just weathered a storm. And maybe she had. I opened the door. Not because I missed her, but because I wanted to see what a liar looked like when the spotlight burned out. She gave me a weak smile. Hey, she said, like we were just bumping into each other on any random evening. I didn't smile back. You lost, I said, calm and sharp. She flinched. Her eyes scanned the apartment behind me, taking it in, the tiny space, the quiet, the simplicity. I could see it on her face. She didn't expect this. Maybe she thought I'd be broken, drowning. Instead, she found peace. She started, arms folded like a kid getting scolded. I needed to talk. I didn't say a word, just stepped aside and let her in. She moved slowly, eyes darting around the room, the couch, the table, the silence. Then she turned to me. You disappeared, she said. You didn't answer anything. You cheated, I replied. You don't get to act surprised. Her lip trembled. Tears started to build, the same ones I used to fall for. But not this time. This time they looked fake. Like cheap props in a bad drama. Miles, I messed up, she said. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just happened. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, really? Did your panties just magically fly off in public too? Or did you hand them to him with a smile? She winced like the words slapped her. It wasn't like that. Don't. I cut her off. My voice flat. Empty. I don't want the rewritten version. I lived the real one. She looked down at her feet and took a shaky breath. I thought he loved me, she whispered. I thought he saw me in a way you didn't anymore. That one hit harder than I expected, not because it was true, but because that's how she justified it to herself. No apology. Just excuses. So I asked her, does he still see you now? She didn't answer. Didn't have to. The silence said it all. Whatever fantasy they built, it collapsed fast. Maybe he used her. Maybe he ghosted her. Maybe she finally realized men like that don't keep what they steal. Either way, here she was now standing in front of me because her backup plan fell apart. She lowered her voice to a whisper. I've been thinking about everything. She looked at me, eyes wet, voice shaking. The life we had, the love we shared. I miss it, she said. I miss you. I just stared at her. Those same lips had kissed him. Those same hands typed out secret messages behind my back. That same voice had looked me in the eye and lied, again and again. I used to love her. God, I really did. But standing there, watching her recite her redemption speech, something hit me. I didn't feel a thing. No anger. No pain. No urge to forgive. Just nothing. I stepped in closer, close enough that maybe, for a second, she thought there was still hope. You miss me? I asked, quiet. She nodded, eyes pleading. You want to fix this? Yes, she whispered. I'll do whatever it takes. I leaned in like I was about to kiss her. She waited. Maybe she thought I still wanted her. But instead, I leaned close and said, then you should have thought about that before you gave your body to another man. She froze. I stepped back, opened the door, and finally said what I should have said the night she first lied to me. Get out. And this time, she actually did. The door clicked shut behind her, soft, final. And just like that, the weight she carried in with her vanished, like smoke clearing from a room. That was it. No shouting. No breakdown. No last-minute sob story soaked in fake tears. Just a quiet end to a woman who once swore she loved me, and then broke every part of that word. I stood there for a moment, listening to the silence. And it didn't hurt. That surprised me. For months, I'd been haunted by her voice, her scent, the memory of her beside me in bed. I thought letting go would feel like ripping out a piece of my soul. But as I watched her walk away for the last time, I realized something that changed everything. She wasn't part of me anymore. She was a chapter. A long, painful, necessary chapter. But just that, a chapter. And now? That chapter was over. I sat on the couch, took a deep breath, and looked around the apartment. Yeah, it was small. But it was honest. I had rebuilt this place, rebuilt myself from the ground up. And for the first time in a long time, it actually felt like mine. That night, I poured a glass of whiskey. Not to forget. To honor the moment. I stood by the window, watching the city breathe in the distance, and finally let myself think about everything she left in her wake. Paige didn't just cheat. She tore down every vow we made, brick by brick. And with every lie, every betrayal, she ended up teaching me more than I ever asked to learn. I learned how blind love can be. How loyalty, when it's not returned, turns into a chain. How silence in a relationship is often louder than shouting. But I also learned something else. I learned how strong I really am. I learned that I can rebuild with nothing but my own two hands. And I learned that walking away from someone you love might just be the most powerful form of self-respect there is. I'm not bitter. I'm just awake. And if you're a man hearing this, and you've got that knot in your gut, the kind that won't go away, the kind that whispers something's off when she looks at you like a stranger, trust it. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not wrong for leaving. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is walk away. Not to get back at her. Not to hurt her. But to protect your own peace. Because peace? That's the real win. It was the next morning when I finally deleted the last photo I had of her. It was from her honeymoon, us on the beach, smiling like the future was solid gold. I looked at it for a long time. Not with sadness. Just clarity. Then I tapped delete. No second thoughts. No hesitation. That was the real ending. Not with fireworks. Not with revenge. Just a man who walked away from the fire and finally felt warm.